talk about today is how we start putting together our actual debate, our arguments. Alex asked, when are we going to start forming it? This is what we're going to start on this week, okay? So we have to understand some things. It's very similar to how you put a persuasive speech together. It has some different terminology and it has some different purposes to it, okay? So we're going to start with the basics. In whatever side you are arguing, whether you're on the affirmative side or the negative side, you all have to do a constructive speech. And the whole point of your debate is to, what we say, clash with the other side.
Clash of
Okay?
Clans?
Clash of Clans.
Not Clash of Clans. I never did.
Okay, well.
You're a liar, Miss Hahn.
I am not a liar.
You lied straight
Okay.
to my face. You said you definitely would.
I did not.
Yeah,
I said I would think about it.
You bet him $100 that you would.
We know you didn't think about it.
Yeah. Okay, so listen.
What did you say?
What we have to understand is that both sides, all of you, will have to put together arguments. And those arguments are made up of three things: claims, warrants, and proof. Okay?
No.
So the claim is the basic argument itself. One of your, no, I don't want to call it reasons because they call warrants reasons.
Are you sure?
It's your specific point that you're making, an argument. Okay? So the claim is, I'm going to put that back for a moment, the argument. And you'll have several.
Miss Hahn, do you think you could do like a rated R class session? Like where you just like blurt out cuss words and stuff?
No,
It's all part of speech.
I don't do that.
I know,
Yeah,
but wouldn't that be
we'll
funny?
just televise it and then we'll have the
Rated R.
where it bleeps out
Rated R,
every
Miss Hahn?
single
No.
cuss word.
No.
Imagine if you had like a
This
button where you
is-
could just flip modes.
Please stop. This is, what are you contending? Think of it in those terms. Or what are you claiming? What are you contending? What is it that the specific point that you want to make in your topic? Okay? That supports your side.
Social
Is
justice.
this claims / arguments?
Yes.
Do I have to download it or
Well,
are we turning? Is this what?
no,
we're
no, no,
turning
no,
into?
no, no. Don't put notes in there. You're going to be doing something else in that point. Okay?
So what do you just want? Us to
I
do?
will put, I don't have these notes together in a nice, neat form for you, but I will put them together so that you can go back to them, okay? So the claim is the argument itself, the point that you're making. Like, let's do a debate about whether we should still be wearing masks.
I don't wear masks.
Okay,
Well, you
masks
see
should be
here-
mandated.
I have the
Alright?
COVID shot.
Doesn't matter. You still have to wear your mask. I've had the COVID shot too.
I've had
Wait.
all of them.
Didn't they say there's like what's the like survival rate if you do get COVID? Like now.
I don't know.
Well, it depends. It varies
So
for
if
ages.
it's like 98,
Guys,
you get the.
I don't want to get into that right now.
I heard
What
that
want-
if you got the vaccine, you can
Alex,
still
I
like
need you
carry
to
it.
stop, okay? You're getting us off track here, and we need to do this. And if you keep talking and getting us off track, you're not going to have any time in class to do what you need to do when I'm finished with this. Okay?
Fine.
So, listen. Let's say that we're going to debate a mask mandate. Okay? What would be an argument to keep wearing masks? It helps reduce the risk. Okay? Protection reduces the risk, however you want to put that. All right? So there would be your claim, your argument. Okay? Then the warrants are the reasons. It's kind of like the subpoints. Okay? So every argument needs a claim, then it needs warrants. Like, what are some of the reasons? So break it down. Well, it protects us. Well, how? Well, what does it do? Okay?
Blocks my nose from getting COVID.
All right? It helps prevent the spread. It prevents
Prevent your
us
foreheads.
from breathing
Possibly
out
even
any,
other diseases.
Okay? And it also helps protect us from breathing in.
It gives you
anything.
swag.
Okay.
Any other diseases as well.
Then, so those are what you say. Those are the reasons. You would list those. And then the proof would be the evidence. And the evidence can come in different forms. There are facts, the quotations, like all the notes that that you took before we went on break, quotes and things and statistics. Those are the facts.
Are you sure?
Okay, so they can be facts and quotes. Well, some of it may have been opinion. Maybe it's opinions.
Oh, it's
Dr.
100%
Fauci.
opinionated, but it doesn't matter.
And then there's something else that we call analytics. Okay, it's the logic. Maybe your proof or your evidence is simply a simple logic argument. Okay,
So just facts.
facts, opinion, logic, also known as analytics. That's the debate term they use.
We
Okay.
use specific vocabulary.
Statistics.
Most of the time, you're going to use evidence. The facts, the quotes. That's typically what you want to use. That has the most impact. That has the most power, because your whole goal is to win the debate, right?
Sometimes.
And so you want to win the debate by helpful. One of the things that you can do is provide the best evidence to support your argument. Okay, so let's talk about the other side of it. So we have to do these things. We have to have a claim, an argument. We need warrants. We need the reasons for those, whatever the argument is, which is like the subcategory of it. Think of it that way. And then the proof, the evidence. Okay. So then, oh wait, how do I just go to it? Okay. So then, guys, what we want to do is to think about how we clash. Okay.
What's that?
So
We
we're
got
gonna
some
talk about
strategies for you,
clashing.
son. Don't worry.
Did that just come out of your mouth just now?
I think she's like
Clashing
trying to
in
get
debate. Okay.
Daily.
This is what we do. This is what debate is all about. It's about the clashing.
We war.
You need to clash with your opponent's arguments.
Please put in parentheses to the right and put war. Just so it's like an inside joke kind of, like this clash is we play Clash of Clans, Let's do it, son. Come on. Take one for the team.
She wants no part in that.
Okay. So how do we do that? We use what we call responsive arguments. Okay. The best way to win the debate is making sure you have good, what we call responsive arguments. Now, those responsive arguments have a claim, warrants, and proof in them. Okay. That's why I did that part first. Okay. Every responsive argument should have those parts, the claim, the warrants, and the proof. Okay. So, you make a claim with warrants and proof against your opponent's arguments. There are 5 basic strategies. There are more than that, but the most basic strategies to create a responsive, to think about your responsive arguments, to follow these. So, or let's call them methods of attack. Okay. Yeah.
I think you actually might be playing Clash of Clans, Miss Hong.
She has an iPad at home.
Oh, I didn't want to do that.
It has like several counts on it.
It's
Okay. Do that.
the old version iPad.
Yes.
Hormones.
Now there are some other methods, but these are the basics. Okay. The first thing would be direct denials or direct refutation. We also call it. We'll just call it direct denials right now. This is if your opponent says black, you say white, or vice versa, or they say this and you say no, that's wrong, and then you have the evidence to support it. So it would be a direct denial of what they are claiming. That's the first one. Okay? And again, these are strategies that you need to think about when you're creating both your constructive and we'll get into your rebuttal arguments too. Okay? We won't get into rebuttals today, but you'll be thinking about that. The second method is to challenge the relevance of their argument.
Suppression.
Okay. So when you're challenging the relevance or challenge the relevance of their claim, any of their claims,
Which is how you set people off.
well, you want to make sure that if they start talking about, they have some argument that really doesn't have an impact. I thought in a speech earlier today, the student was giving her persuasive speech, and she was talking about the length of your lunch period. And I thought one of her arguments wasn't very relevant, but then she tied it in. She was talking about food and your nutrition and so forth. And I was thinking, how does that impact, or why is that impacted by the lunch period or the length of the lunch period? And then she went on to explain it. But at first I thought, oh, there's some relevance issue here. Okay. So when you're listening to your opponent's arguments, if they bring up something, then you can say, wait a second, that doesn't really apply to it. Like, let's go back to the mask mandate. And you're saying we need to wear masks, but one of their claims is that, well, masks aren't very attractive. Well, does that have really anything to do with the reason why you would have a mask mandate? That's not really very relevant. How you look in the mask shouldn't be a reason for not wearing it or not having a mandate for it.
If we have a mask and we can breathe through it, don't you think stuff could come through it? You know what I'm saying? You're still breathing in something.
It has to do with the filter.
Well, does my mask kill off
Kendra's
bacteria?
just saying that's not how that works. And so is Cadence.
Oh yeah, my mask does have a filter on it,
Yeah, it's a filter. You can still breathe through it, but it doesn't.
like a humidifier type of thing.
Yeah. Think about a water filter. Okay. Think about a water filter. You still get water through it, but it filters out the other things.
But you think this filters out other things? What if there's COVID on the mask and then I touch it? And I have COVID.
I don't know.
Wait, I know what it is.
Here's the next way you can attack. You can attack the warrants or the reasons for the claim.
I smell COVID.
Okay, so here's the thing, guys. You have to listen carefully to your opponents. You also have to think about what they might say, but you have to listen to what they're saying. Debate is something that once those initial speeches or that first speech is given, after that, it's a matter of adjusting to what's been said. You can make preparations, but it's pretty much the rest of it after the first constructive speech on the affirmative side, and really the negative side too they may have to make a few adjustments to it, but those first speeches given by each side, after that, it's pretty much you have to listen to what the other side has been saying, okay? It's really important that you be good listeners and be able to retain what they're saying and think about how you could attack the other side, because that's the whole point. Okay?
Yeah, like Trump was getting in trouble when they did that one debate because he kept like roasting him while he was talking. Remember that?
He just kept interrupting. He wasn't listening.
He was roasting
Well, in some ways it was very smart because then he doesn't have to answer the question, because if you just interrupt, I mean, it's not a really good way to debate. It's not true debate.
Yeah.
But it is a strategy for And I will tell you, if any of you tried that during our debates, you're not going to be getting a very good grade from me.
It's just,
Okay.
honestly, it's just rude.
It is. Okay. The fourth way to do this is to attack the evidence or proof. Okay. And then the fifth one, can I get this in? I'm going to put it up here. Number 5 is turn the opponent's argument against them, or their proof, or their evidence, claim, warrants, or proof against them. So in other words, if you're listening carefully and realize that a piece of evidence that they're using really supports your side and not their side, you point that out.
Call it out.
Or if the warrant or the claim that they're making, logically, this would be when you use a logic argument. Okay, you can say, look, if you look at the logic of this, this is really supporting our side and not theirs. Okay, and you turn it against them. All right. So I wanted you to understand this, or at least start to be familiar with this, so that when you start putting your arguments together, you can be thinking about all of these things. And think about, do my arguments really suit this? Could they do anything with any of my arguments? Make sure your arguments are relevant. Make sure your reasons and your proof do support what you're saying, that they are logical, okay? So you have to look at all of these things, all right? So a constructive speech, well, you know what? I don't know if I want to talk about that yet. Because what I was going to talk about was the first affirmative speech only. You guys are going to have to decide who's going to speak first and who's going to speak second in your teams, okay? And also, you need to keep in mind that the first affirmative speaker and probably the first negative speaker, if you have somebody that's stronger at speaking off the cuff, that's better at impromptu, put that person as your second speaker. Okay? Think about that. Who in your group, who in your team, which one of you is better at impromptu? Okay? If you are better at impromptu, you should be the second speaker. If you're not as strong and if the other person is stronger at impromptu, then you be the first speaker for your team. Because the first speaker, especially the first affirmative, they're the ones that are going to get to write out a speech. You can make plans if you're the second speaker. You should have ideas in your mind. You should have arguments written down, but you also need to be listening to think, wait, can I use that argument? Is this a point they brought up? Is there something else they brought up that I need to attack? Okay. Do we follow all of that? Okay.
I can't see.
All right. Questions? All right.
Yes. Can you turn down the air like to 60?
It's cold.
I'm burning. I'm getting a headache because it's so hot in here.
I think it's cold.
Either that or you have
You
something
just-
else going
I
on.
might just be cross-eyed.
Okay. Listen, here's what I want you to do, okay? I put in place an assignment that's simply for you to come up with 2 arguments each for your side. Your claims, you need to have 2 of them, and then come up with warrants and 2 pieces of evidence for each one, okay? This will be the basis for your constructive speeches. So use something, I wanted you to do something practical instead of just taking some random topic. I want you to think about your arguments, because this is where you would start with your constructive speeches. What we'll go over tomorrow, we'll go back over some of this, But what we'll go over tomorrow is what the first constructive speech on the affirmative side does. What exactly do they have to say?
Okay,
Okay.
that sounds like a plan.
So,
Yes, sir.
because they have certain things procedures they have to follow. The first affirmative speaker has to, in their constructive speech, the very first speech that's given, they have to lay out the topic. And then their reasons for why they are supporting this topic. The first negative speaker would do the same thing, but give their reasons against it, okay? So think about which one of you is the better impromptu speaker. Make sure that person will be your second speaker on each team, okay? But all of you need to come up with 2 arguments for your side. And the claims, oh, that's not up
So
there,
we're done
sorry.
with
The
no
claims,
slides?
the warrants, and then proof. Okay.
No more
Use your
notes?
evidence. Look through the notes that you took.
No more?
No, only if you think you need to take more notes. Okay.
Let's go.
So if you think you need to take more notes, do it. But right now, to create those claims and those arguments, look through your notes, see what you have, think about it, talk to your partner. If you each have 2 different claims, that means you've got 4 arguments right there to start
We're
with.
doing claim/argument.
Yes, it's a claim/argument exercise. Okay? All right. Any questions? All right, I'm going to stop this. I just realized I probably didn't need to record because